Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Outside and Musta. And for this episode, I'm very pleased to have our very first female guest. It's none other than the lovely ex-Warrant Officer Class 2, Miss Yvonne Foster. Miss Foster, how are you, ma'am?
I am fine, thank you, Major. I hope you're well too.
I'm fine, and I'm happy to have you here. Thank you for accepting my invitation, and I look forward to our conversation and discussion for this episode. I'm the host of this episode, Major Marlon Kennedy, and Outside and Musta is geared at looking at our ex-service members who would have served with distinction and would have left a mark on the JDF, and also the JDF would have left a mark on their lives. So for this episode, we have Miss Foster, and I will ask Miss Foster to go ahead and introduce herself, and just let's get things rolling. And we'll start as early as, because a lot of persons know you based on your military background and your accolades, but you know, who is Yvonne Foster, and where did she grow up, and why did she choose the JDF?
Okay, so thank you for that. And thank you for having me too. As you mentioned, my name is Yvonne Foster, but I was actually Yvonne Williams before I acquired the name Foster. I grew up in a little district called Williamsfield. Williamsfield in St. Elizabeth. That is 10 miles from Black River going south. And from an early age, about 15, I decided what I really wanted to do. They were having a political meeting in my district, Williamsfield, and for the first time, I was seeing soldiers. And then I said to myself, wow, I would love to be a soldier, but because of my upbringing, they're going to say, no, don't do that. You're going to die. They're going to kill you when you go to Kingston, because that was the picture that was painted of Kingston in those days. And I went to Barbary Hall Primary School. That's about a mile from my house. And then after leaving Barbary Hall Primary School, I went to Warren's Private, that's in Williamsfield. It was this teacher that owned a private school, so we were privileged to go there. The teacher died, and then I had an auntie working at the Seventh-day Adventist school in Williamsfield. And in those days, if you were not a Seventh-day Adventist, you could not attend the school. And my aunt, L.D. Levy, she approached the principal, Mrs. Gunter, and asked if she could let us go to school. But before then, I should have said to you that my mother died on the 4th of May, 1964. And my father followed her 3 months later on the 3rd of August, 1964. It was 7 girls, and my youngest sister was about 17. We were left without any parent at that age. I was barely 7 years old when that happened. Okay. But in those days, the district grew your children for you. That sees you doing anything wrong, you would get a beating from them. And if you go home and talk, that's another beating.
Okay.
So that was how we were brought up. So my sister, Denvery Nation, got married at about 19 to a gentleman named Amos Nation, them call him Brother Jack. And he took care of all 7 children until she started to have her own.
Okay.
And that was my upbringing. And surprisingly, what is happening now, we were never allowed out of the house after dark. Not even dark, but we have this thing we call brown dust.
Yeah.
When it comes between sunlight and it's getting dark. The only place we were allowed to go after that was church, and he would have been with us. She was like our mother then, and she is still alive, and she's our mother to this very day.
Well, that's very good, and that's very interesting because that sort of story is very rare to see that children would have lost their parents at such an early age, and then to see the community come together and grow the children. And back then, I know that there was a higher level and standard of discipline within the community.
Oh, yes.
And I can see that, the transition from having lost their parents to the community taking on that responsibility seemed probably very seamless. And then to see that the effort and responsibility taken on by your older sister,
Yeah.
to still take on, and even her husband,
Yeah.
because that is a brave move, because I don't see nowadays where we will have men in society when they seek a wife and she accepts the proposal for her to come with her family, because a man might say that's too much and he's marrying the lady. But I guess the old time saying, so when you take the cow, you take the calf, in that sense. But that's good though. And how old were you when you decided to join the JDF, Ms. Foster?
Well, I had the Adventist school was like an all-age school. So I was like 18 years old when I had an aunt that lived in Mandeville. Went to visit her for the weekend, and she said to me, have you ever thought of joining the army? Because I hear they're taking female soldiers now. And I said, really? And I sent in an application. Yes, I sent in an application. Waited a few months though, and then I thought of joining the police force because I had two aunties then that had, one had two sons in the police force and one had three. So now I had 5 cousins that were police, and like I said, I think I better take the test. But before I could have made that decision, in those days, you never have email and all of that. They sent a telegram.
Yes.
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 And the telegram came, and the post missus would not give a bearer. Somebody from my household had to go for it. So even before the telegram came, my sister was crying because telegram only come with bad news.
Okay.
Yes. And I had to give my sister's name for them to send the telegram to. So,
because she was the older one.
Because she was my next of kin.
Yes.
And she opened the telegram and she said, girl, says the army sent for you. I said, really? And they gave me a week to do the test. I came in and I did the test on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
But when I got the number, my number was 1143. That means that 1,142 persons, because we were on the 3rd day.
Yeah.
It took about, it was when we did the test, then I had an auntie that was lecturing at UWI, and she stayed over at Mary Seacole Hall. Her name was Nivani Lam, and she picked me up. After the test, 2 days after, they got my auntie's straight line number, and I went and we did a medical. Right. We did the medical, and then after the medical, I had a little black spot between my 2 front teeth, and they said to me that I had to go and get them out. Yeah. That time, the little country dentists, they were not filling teeth. You had to do an extraction.
Oh dear.
Yes. So I did an extraction, but they were fine teeth, so the space wasn't that big. And we went up to Newcastle.
What year was that, Miss Foster?
That was February 1977.
1977.
1977.
What number was your intake?
Number 1.
First female intake.
First female intake. First female intake.
That's
I think it was 2 ladies from St. Elizabeth. There was one from Magotty side. We were all country girls. Trelawney, St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Manchester. And you had about 4 ladies, I think, from Kingston.
what was the size of that intake with the ladies?
99 ladies.
99, and 4 of them probably came from Kingston.
Yes, we were all country girls.
Boy, I tell you that I'm concerned there, because that probably means that the Kingston ladies know something that the country people don't know, and they just don't turn up in the numbers. Or is it vice versa?
No. I think that they choose the persons with the best score.
Okay.
On their test sheet. Because what I realized on the morning that I came, that they gave us the Gleaner to read. And some people did not move on from reading of the Gleaner.
Okay.
And my mind was very sharp because I was just leaving school. Right.
Yeah.
I was just leaving school. And, when you're going for a test or an interview, you brush up on your general knowledge and you do your little maths and your little English. Right. And I remember vividly, we were given the dictation. We got dictation. And who gave us the dictation but Noel Waterman from Barbados? And we couldn't understand a word he was saying. So they had to take it from him and give it to somebody else to read because his language was that thick. Yes.
The Barbadian accent.
Yes. So we are in our park camp now, and everybody had their little suitcase, all innocent, very innocent, I must say. And they let us board the trucks. By the time we got to Irish Town, we were all vomiting.
The twisting and turning.
The twisting and the turning. And when we got up to Newcastle, it was cold.
And that hasn't changed in years, man.
And that has not changed, and it will not change in all time. It was cold, and we were taking to a place called P.O. Ridge, Post Office Ridge.
Yes.
And Post Office Ridge, as the crow flies, is a step to the square. If you go around the road, it's almost 1 mile. That much I can tell you.
Yes.
And when we went there were some other ladies there before, because they were taking ladies day 1 and 2, and we were the 3rd set to go up.
Okay.
But like some persons went up Friday, some Saturday, and like we were on the Sunday.
Yeah.
Right. And then we saw like this white woman, and I said, okay, she must be from St. Elizabeth. Her name was Susan Hike. And there was another lady, she was a major, and she came from England, Major Blakely. And then you had Grace Barkley.
Okay.
They were there. And the Monday morning, we went down on the square, and we got our uniforms, and we started training in PT. Mr. Duncan, Luther Duncan was my corporal.
What was there? Did you train with a male intake, or it was only females that were in Newcastle at that time?
Male intake was up there, but it was only females that was in that intake. We did PT together with them though. We did weapon training with them, but when we're on the square drilling, we were the only females there. There was no male in our group.
Okay.
There was no male. And can I tell you how hard it was? Because from the vehicle dropped us at P.O. Ridge that evening, it was a trek morning and evening, back to Pure Ridge, until we found a shortcut, a very dangerous shortcut that took us like 5 minutes instead of the almost 20 minutes
Yeah.
to get around to the square. Yes.
How long was your training back then?
I think our training was 21 weeks.
21 weeks.
Yes. Yes.
So tell me about your passing out parade, because that was the first female intake. What was that like?
Oh my gosh. Everybody take charter car from country, come up to see the one little country girl pass out. Oh yes. Everybody take a charter vehicle to come up. And when you look at the up where the Psalmist is in Newcastle, crowd lined from one end to the other. And who was the who took the salute? Michael Manley and Beverly was there with him. Because
yes.
I understand that how that happened. Beverly went with Michael to a police passing out parade over in Port Royal then. We didn't have Twickenham Park at that time, I think. And she said to him, I understand. She told us later that she said to him, Michael, why can't we have some female soldiers? And that was history.
That was history.
That was history.
That was history.
So Michael Manley kissed every one of us.
On the cheek.
Did not watch my cheek for that night going to bed. Because like I was meeting Michael Manley for the second time. Because when they come down to the country to political meetings, we used to see them from afar.
Yeah.
So it was like, I know the man, and everybody was saying, you see Michael? And I was saying to myself, I've seen him already. But you know, as a little country girl, they wouldn't really believe me.
Yes, yes.
So Michael and Beverly was there. And yes.
Do you have an idea? You have an idea how many persons from your community came to support you?
About 30. Because they chartered a coaster bus.
Okay, so you got a platoon's worth of support.
I got a platoon's worth of support. Yes, yes. And some of the persons that came from my district coming into Kingston, they have never passed Mandeville before.
For the first time.
For the very first time.
Yes.
And when I understand that when the bus was going around these corners and they looked and saw the gullies.
Precipice.
The precipice that they were looking down in. You understand? They were quite traumatized going up to Newcastle. Yes.
And they say the reason why when you go there, nobody, it takes even more courage and strength to quit rather than go through the program.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay, and that's good. I'm happy, and that continues, you know, because you know when you've been to other passing out parades, you see that especially recruits from the country, the sheer numbers that turn up for support, and also for some of them, it's the first time they're even coming into Kingston, much less coming all the way up to Newcastle. So that's really good. So you completed recruit training, Ms. Foster.
Yes.
Where did you go when you came down into Upper Camp?
All right. The truck took us down. We did not walk down like everybody else did. And we stayed up at Duppy Gate. And then the band met us there. And we fall in on the SSB Square.
Yeah.
From there, we were taken to the female barrack room. We put our things down and we were taken on a tour of the camp. We went, I remember we went to the supply depot, now logistics. We went to workshop, we went to TU and Major. Everywhere we went, there was a large group of soldiers waiting on us, and there was tea, coffee, snacks, everything you could think of.
Yes. Fetted like royalty.
We were feted like royalty, and they were looking at us with curiosity all over their faces. Yes.
First set of ladies in the JDF.
First set of ladies. And might I say, we were all young and nice looking then.
Well. Obviously, from I've known you, ma'am, you seem to come from them sort of genes that grow good looking. So you haven't aged a bit, and you still look sharp and quite refreshing at this stage, and that's really good to see and hear. So where did you work when you first went when you came down?
All right. The first unit I worked, department, was the AU signals.
Yes.
We did signaling. We did dispatching because the dispatch office was a part of the signals office. So we did a signal course to learn basic signaling.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that was under the baton of WO2 Gibson,
Mm-hmm.
who has females coming into Upper Camp. Quite a few females were there. Rosie Walker was there, Joy Kamock, June
Yes.
Mackenzie, and Irene Thomas.
Yeah.
And we all went to the telephone company on a telephone operating course. Yes.
That time it was JT, Jamaica Telephone Company.
Jamaica Telephone
Actually, yes.
Company, yes. We
Yes.
went there on the telephone operating course that lasts 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And we came back now to operate the switchboard at the telephone exchange. In those days, you have to draw the cord and plug and put it in when a call was coming in to answer.
Yes. Yes.
Right, yes. And we did our signaling course. We all passed. And then we did radio operating. That was most exciting because, like, you're talking from soldiers. Like, I remember when they had the Grenadier invasion, I was one of the female radio operators. And I said, my gosh, isn't God wonderful? You can hear somebody in Barbados over this radio as if they're in the next room beside you.
So you did not deploy, but you stayed in Jamaica and
right, yes.
And you had contact and communication with them in Grenada.
In Grenada, because we were sole radio operators when we were on duty.
Supporting that operation.
Supporting that operation, and all those times we had to learn Morse code and all those things. Dad did it is in my head unto this day. And I remember them telling us about the RSVP, the rhythm, and the speed and the volume. So each time you speak, there must be a little pause in between.
Yes, yes.
For the understanding to come through.
Yes.
And I remember what is a radio station. I remember a radio station is a group of stations working together on the same frequency for the purpose of communication.
Yeah.
And then they taught us about the SAD, SAD, security, accuracy, and discipline. So, and they taught us about voice procedure. Voice procedure is a set of rules designed to provide security, accuracy, and discipline when speaking on radio net. Yes,
how many times you get those questions on card and so forth? So that's so because those answers are etched in your brain now, Miss Foster. You're just repeating it as if
did all my courses. And when we did our courses, the signal persons, like the potential, the senior NCO, the persons from signal, they would have their sessions to come up. And that section of the questions that are placed for signals, we pass with flying colors.
That is expected, ma'am.
And we go on bush training. And the signaler is there. I helped to pitch the antenna where you can pick up the communication best.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I like signaling. Yes, I did. I really
So
did.
how long did you do signal? Were you a signaler for,
I
and
did
then what was the
signals.
next trade after that?
I did signals for about 10 years.
10 years.
Yes.
What rank did you get up to as a signaler?
Corporal.
Okay.
Right. And then I was posted to the Jamaica Officers Club.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I was posted to the Jamaica Officers Club. And then I remember Colonel Douglas, he was major then. He was CO Support and Services Battalion at
Mm-hmm.
the time. And as females, you knew where our backroom was. I had just gone about 6-7 months at the Officers Club when Colonel Douglas walked up to the female fence, and everybody was running because we were never properly attired there.
Mm-hmm.
Shorts or towel wrap around us, and they said he sent for me. I said, oh my God, what did I not do, and what am I going to do now? And he just looked and said to me, Corporal Williams, when you go to the Officers Club tomorrow, you are the club manager. I said, me, sir, the club manager? I don't know anything about managing the club. I just do purchasing for the club because we provided lunch, as you know, so we would buy in bulk.
Yes.
So there were like days when we would take the Land Rover, go out to St. Thomas. We had our agent there where we would offer like order like four pigs, half
Yeah.
of pigs, and then the man would prepare them for us, and the beef and the pork and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So I did not know what was happening. And then Sandy Taylor, Captain Taylor,
Yes,
was
Captain Taylor.
the paymaster.
Mm-hmm.
And she came down to the Officers Club and she said, don't worry, Foster, I am going to teach you accounting. I am going to teach you the everyday running of the club. And that was where I stayed for almost another 10, 15 years. But
Yeah.
I did not stay there all in one.
Okay.
I am at the Officers Club. I got sergeant there. And then I moved up to Quartermaster Support and Services Battalion
Mm-hmm.
as a sergeant. And then something went wrong at the Officers Club again, and they sent back for me. I did another 2 years. By this, I was a staff sergeant. And then I went back to Quartermaster Support and Services Battalion under the baton of Major J.U. Lynch.
Yes.
Right. And Mark Ricketts was the warrant officer class 2 there. And I did quartermaster work there. Something happened again, and I was asked to go back to the Officers Club to set things right.
Mm-hmm.
So like I spent like a good amount of time at the Officers Club. I was now at the quartermaster. I was promoted to warrant officer class 2.
Before you move on there, though, because I know that it was a huge responsibility as a corporal to be thrusted in that office as the manager of the club.
Yes.
What were the lessons learned? What was the experience like working at the Officers Club? Because being a corporal and you are interacting with commissioned officers and in particular senior officers that use the facilities, what was that experience like and coming out of your time at the Officers Club?
It was very good, sir. It was very good. I have never had a bad experience with any of the officers because we know where to draw the line.
Yeah.
And respect was always the order of this.
Yeah.
When they call you by your first name, you know that there is a line you don't cross.
Yeah.
And I am seeing my chief of staff every day. I'm seeing my OC every day, and I'm seeing my CO every day.
Yes.
So behavioral problem was never, ever one for me. And I learned to respect everybody, no matter what rank they were. And the did not ever cross the line with me. I had a very good experience at the Officers Club. It opened my eyes to a lot of things because it was not just officers that were there. You had associate members that were good standing in, like lawyers and doctors and judge from all class of society. They would go there. And it opened my eyes too, because I learned how to plan function from the beginning to the cleanup.
Yes.
The very day after. And if the function finishes at 4 o'clock in the morning, that Officers Club was up and operated by 8:30 the following day. So that taught me too how to set tables for dinners, the different functions they have, what utensils to use. And then soldiers would come down for rehearsal. And then everything we did, we had to do a dry run for the OC, the CO, because it had to be perfect. So I learned to do a lot of regimental dinners, a lot of hosting and everything, a lot of decorations too.
Yes.
Yes. So I learned a lot at the Jamaica Officers Club. It was a good training ground for me. After leaving the Officers Club.
No, before you move on there, man, before you move on, because there are some important points I want to capture here as you go ahead, Ms. Foster. So I know that based on what you're saying, you know, it enhanced your organizational skills, and you got exposed to issues of it in terms of etiquette, and also your social skills were also developed. But because you worked in that environment, and the experience you gained there, what was the interaction with your peers whilst you were working there? Because I know that, you know, persons go to the Officers Club and there's a certain stigma that comes with the club manager that works there and their interaction with their peers and members of the mess in general as well. Because I know that for sure, you know, that the club manager, when the club manager walks around up Park Camp and speaks, you know, they speak with a certain level of authority, because if they make certain requests and it's not forthcoming, and they make a call to the big man up at the White House, and then people start run up and down. It made me seem as that. But what was your interaction like with your peers and other members of the mess coming out of that experience?
All right, sir. The Flagstaff mess, the Garrison mess, all the messes in camp, mess managers, we have a network.
Before we got WhatsApp group.
Yes, we had a network. And if I am doing something and I know you have that item, it is going to be borrowed and vice versa. We network and we help each other. There was not any sort of fear from me as to say, I am the club manager and you will do as I say. No. First of all, you state what is going to happen. And it will happen this way. Yeah. And when you put everything outline, you tell them what is expected. I remembered there was a big dinner, and I had a group of men and ladies, and certain ladies did not want to serve at certain tables. And asked me for a switch, and I switched. And when I'm having the briefing, I said, look here now, a lot of persons hate to come on fatigue because they call it fatigue.
Yes, we still do.
Right. And they hate to come on fatigue. But I say to them, what I learned as a club manager, I learned everything from going on fatigues, like setting tables and all of that.
Yeah.
So you will learn. It's all in a day's work. And you start this time and finish this time. I go through the routine with them. That fingernails must be up to scratch. You go get your hair cut. And the evening before the actual function, we do a dry run. Yeah. And I demonstrate to them that going over somebody to serve, the underarm must be in perfect condition.
Yes.
So I say, top up on your hygiene, do this, do that. And if while you're serving, if somebody asks you something and you don't understand, don't leave the table, just ask the person to repeat. So I make sure that all barriers are down, that nobody would be afraid of me to come and ask me anything, because I know that I was at that stage too. So the air was clear with that. And I did not have to call a transport unit much, because the wines member, the catering member, the OC and the CO, if they had a vehicle and I need one, it would be at my disposal along with the driver.
Yeah.
Right. So with that, I had no problems there.
Excellent.
I had no problems there.
That's good. That's good to hear, man.
Yes, no
So you were saying about working at the Quartermaster Department now.
All right. So I went at the Quartermaster Department under the baton of J.U. Lynch and Mark Ricketts.
Yeah.
And, you know, at the Quartermaster Department, a lot of things happen. A lot of persons who don't understand quartermaster's job, what the QM do. It's very important. There's a conference room that was in our charge. And once they're having a conference of any sort, conference, court martial, we had a chart how to set up the conference room.
Yeah.
Anything that is happening within support and services battalion, whether it's cross country, whether it's sports day and the tents and all of that, that are to be drawn, then we would actually go and draw these tents, set them up and do all of that. When I left the Quartermaster Department, I could have gone and run Kingston High Ridge. Yes, because it took a lot of indenting for tables and chairs and all the different utensils and everything that is needed when you're actually putting on a function.
Yeah.
Yes, anytime. I have learned so much at the Officers Club. I have learned so much from the Quartermaster Department. And then I got promoted to Warrant Officer Class 2. And I went to the supplies depot, no, logistics
company.
right, as the purchasing NCO. Yes, and I did 1 year there. Mark Ricketts was then leaving for the wharf. They were being seconded to the wharf.
Yes.
And then I became the RQ. By this, Major Lynch had retired, and then I was under the baton of Major Shrimpy Chambers.
Yes.
Yes. And yes, he was there. And we run the department well together. And that was where I actually retired from the Army in 2013.
And how many years marked that landmark for your service?
Okay, sir, don't let the hair stand up on your head now. I did 36 years and 99 days.
36 years and 99 days, Ms.
Yes,
Foster.
sir. Yes, sir.
That is very remarkable. It's very remarkable. Having served for such a long time, there are a couple of things I can easily speak about in terms of your service.
Yes,
Let me go back to the beginning in terms of intake 1. You know, what were the friendships that were started coming out of that? And how many of those ladies are you still in touch with? And how has those friendships developed? Because, and let me give an example to say that, you know, persons who I served with, after a while, you became, you know, you're either best man at their wedding or participate in their wedding, or you became the godfather of their kids. So, you know, that sort of bond and camaraderie developed over the years. So how was it with your members of your intake?
We have stuck together. We have had 2 reunions since most of them still are living overseas. But like I had three of us that clung together.
Yeah.
Odell Morrison, she's no longer with us.
Yeah.
And Joy Kamak.
Yes.
Joy Kamak and I are like sisters.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that's happening in each other's family, we are there. Whether it's funeral, it's party, it's whatever, we talk every day. Whether by WhatsApp or she calls personally on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
And I am accepted in her family as their sister, the Brown sister, because when her father died, and yes, the Brown sister.
The Brown sister.
When her father died, and I was there, like everybody knew I was a sister, and somebody said to one of the brother, "How come you guys are so dark?" And she is of that complexion, and they said, "Oh, that's my father's outside child." Her mother was brown. Yes. So Joy Kamak and all her brothers and sisters, we are good.
Very close.
As a matter of fact, their photograph is in my living room.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yes. And I'm in contact with almost all the females via World Connection or via WhatsApp.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. So so yes, we're still together. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's good to hear. That's really good to hear. But when I joined, and I first I met you as well. I'm reinforcing your point.
Yes, sir.
I'm reinforcing your point where you said with Miss Kamok, because for me, both they were two peas in a pod, because everywhere I go, I see Kamok and I see you. And Marcy was the lady that worked at MRS.
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes, and I saw her as well. All right. So I do understand, and from that it was clear that all three of you were very close.
Yes, sir.
And it's very admirable to see that sort of friendship, how things started, and it went beyond just the military life. Yes, and how involved you both, all of you, were in each other's personal life and family life as well.
Yes, sir.
So the next thing now is you'd have met quite a few persons there, and you'd have created that bond. But when you look at the ladies that you have served with, and it's not restricted or limited to the enlisted members of the force, it's a question I would ask at the end, but I'll raise it now. That who amongst your peers, and also who came after you, because you were intake one, yes, you saw in terms of being exemplary in terms of their conduct, and how they carried themselves, and how they represented and flew the flag of the Jamaica Defense Force?
There are quite a few ladies.
Yeah.
I can call, you have WO1 retired, Maureen Thaxter.
Yes, Miss Thaxter, right. Chief Clerk.
Right. You have Elaine Hansen, Major Elaine Hansen.
Yes.
Right. You have Major Denise Black. Yes.
That powerhouse of a lady.
Powerhouse of a lady.
The very frank and upfront, and tell you as it is, Denise Black.
Front.
Yes.
And you have Helida Thompson.
Yes.
Yes. And you have Miss Mackenzie. Jennifer Mackenzie.
Jennifer, yes.
Right.
Yes.
And you have the two sisters. The two sisters, one was at medical company and one was at pay office. I think one is our captain.
Who's that again now?
I am having a senior moment, which I'm entitled to.
it will come back to you.
It will come back, but sir, they have done extremely well. Right. I am proud of them. Right.
Yes.
Oh, her name is Palmer.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Yes. Yes.
She was even the FSM at one time.
Yes. Captain Palmer. Yes.
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 The ladies have done well, sir.
Yeah.
They have done well. And then you had Major Elaine Ray.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
What they call I can say
Mumaria.
Mumaria.
Yes.
The encyclopedia of the Jamaica Defense Force.
Right.
Herself and Major McGowan.
Oh yes. Oh,
yes.
And then you have in the officer field.
Yes.
You have Grace Barkley, you had Yola Kane, you have Janice Copeland, you have Joanna Lewin.
Yes,
right.
I know Joanna.
She is still active to this very day.
Very vibrant. Yes.
Very vibrant. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. You have. Sir, we have done well.
I see that, and it's important to when we reflect to look at that intake and that group of ladies that started it all, and where you are now. Yes. So you last served as RQ, as you said.
Yes, sir.
And you've moved on to civilian life.
Yes, sir.
Without disclosing any confidentiality, I would just ask you to just let our viewers know, what are you doing now? What was the transition like? What are the lessons that you've learned since you've moved on to civilian life as well?
Sir, my transition was very easy.
Mm-hmm.
Coming from the background of the Officers Club, where you have to deal with a lot of civilians.
Yeah.
And then my church family takes up a great part of my life. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when CDS Lewin, about 6 months before he departed service, he came and he spoke with the mess. He said, "Mess members, we're all sitting here in the departure lounge.
Mm-hmm.
Once you reach the mess, you're actually looking in, looking out. But some of us was not even looking any better because we thought that some persons thought that the JDF was their whole life."
Yes.
So it was very easy for me. And one of the things he said, it's in my mind today's date. He said, "Ladies and gentlemen, some of us will leave here and you're going to die, not physically dead, because you have no life outside of Upper Camp.
Yeah.
Go find a club, go find a church, go find a voluntary organization, get yourself embedded in there, that your transition will be smooth."
Yeah.
So about 6 months before I retired, I joined the Jamaica Legion.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I became a member of the Major General After branch at the Jamaica Legion.
Yeah.
I came home. I had about a year leave. So I was still sitting pretty. And after that, I said, okay, I need to do some things because I still had a little left in me. And
at least 3/4 tank.
Yes, 3/4 tank. So I got a job at Port Security Corps.
Mm-hmm.
I was working alongside the great Tiger Haynes.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Major Haynes.
Yes. No, Major Haynes' brother.
Okay.
Tiger Haynes.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a very fascinating but dangerous job. We went out and we checked the airports. All airports include the one in Trelawny, Errol Flynn.
Yeah.
Right. I can tell you that when we walk in the airport, the port security workers were like, when you're a private soldier and see the chief of staff coming. Right. You had to go there, and you don't give them any notice when you're coming. You had,
random visits.
yes, you had a pass for the airport, an unaccompanied pass. Right. So you just put it on you, and one glance, and they know that authority is stepping in. Right. And unfortunately, about 3 months into me going there, Tiger Haynes had a massive stroke.
Okay.
He couldn't, he was bedbound. Right? So I was left alone. I still continued my visits, but that post is actually a political post.
Okay.
It comes under the Ministry of Transport.
Okay.
Yes, because I remember, and in charge then was Bobby Finzi Smith. Yes, and they're actually paramilitary trained, you know. Because,
okay.
Yes, they're taught to salute and all of that. And under Bobby Smith's baton, like the funeral process for any of the port security members that went, like the carrying of the casket, holding of the flag, he would send them down to 3GR for them to be trained.
Okay.
By someone there of how the procedure is and what, and quite good, spectacular and all of that. So after 6 months, my contract was not renewed there. Then I was at home for another 3 months.
But before you move on, Ms. Foster, you said it was dangerous. You know, what aspects of it?
All right.
If you can briefly.
Visiting the port was also involved.
Yes.
And the searching of containers for contraband.
Yeah.
And if you get a tip-off and you don't inform the police or anything like that, and they found out that it's you that break their plan, you would expire.
Okay.
That part of it was dangerous. The visiting at the airport and all of that was not. But the wharf side of things,
yes,
where the containers come in, many times you would be traveling on the Portmore Causeway there, and you will see those empty containers. Drugs would be hidden in them. And you don't know how they get it in, but those containers are open.
Yeah.
So they would have been transferred from one container to another without your knowledge.
Okay.
And yes, so that was the dangerous part of it. But it was a good job. I was at home. I did a little traveling. I visited here and there. That took me over a 3 months period. And then WO1 Bumpy Rogers called me one day and said, Port Security Corps asked me if he knew anybody, because he had the sugar estate contracts.
Yeah.
And that dealt with barcoods. And he knew that as a quartermaster, I would have first-hand knowledge.
Yeah.
The contract was for 6 months. And then my contract up, he wanted me to sign on. And for personal reasons, I just ended my contract there when the period was up. I was not up for recontract.
Okay.
Yes. And then 2016, I went and I did an interview at Guardsman. We were up at Cavallo then. And then Captain Gray was then my manager then. Yes.
Captain Garth Gray.
Garth Gray, yes.
Yeah.
That tall, upstanding gentleman. And we moved from Cavallo down to Blake Road. And I was given the title of a technical coordinator.
Okay.
I work with alarms. So we do cameras, house alarms,
Yeah.
we do AVL, we do tracking, name it for your vehicle and your house. We can
Okay.
do that.
Yeah.
So I have regions. I'm in St. Mary and St. Anne, Hanover, Trelawney, and St. James.
Yes.
So I have technicians in the area. And we have gone very sophisticated. The work order is created and it's placed on their tablets.
Yeah.
Client sign on the tablet and it is forwarded to billings and that's it. It's as easy as that. We have jobs in all the parishes.
Yeah.
And once the work order is created, we call the client and we confirm that can you accept us at X time? They agreed. The work order is placed on the technician's tablet. The technician goes to the location. If parts are needed, then a bill of material is created and a proposal is sent to the client. Client sign off. All of this is via the network.
Yeah.
Client signs off, and then the technician is sent on the location to do the job.
Another important area I'd want you to expound on, because since you've retired, you've worked in a number of places, and Guardsman in particular, I'm aware of, is probably the number one employer of ex-service members. And you would have seen quite a few persons pass through Guardsman. Those would have done well, some stayed on, those who have not performed up to expectation. What sort of message would you give to persons looking to be a part of civilian life in general, and in particular working in the industrial security type environment, whether it is, the static guard, the quick response aspect of things, the technical aspects, the armored aspect of things? What message do you have for ex-service members, persons looking to move on? I want to be a part of that industry.
All right. If you want to be a part of that industry, you're coming from a very elite organization. You have been well trained and you're heading into a security oriented company. It is going to be slightly different from what you're used to. Because if you are in command, you would say to your soldier, do this, do that, and it is done without any question. No, you're going into a different world. You cannot be regimental anymore.
Okay.
You cannot be regimental anymore. But one of the things the Army taught us is man management.
Yes.
Man management is key. These persons could have been doing X, Y, Z, but you go there with your man management skill. You hear them say, look after the banana, and the banana will look after you.
Yes.
The banana young, and shoot on the ground. You have to know everybody have a different personality. So you study your men. You study the persons you work with. And when you know what type of person that person is, then you work around them. Let them know what you stand for. Let us do a good job, that we don't have a plan B. A is good and we will work with A. And let us see how best we can work with A. Don't go there and say that, okay, I left the Army as a warrant officer class 2, and you're going to do this, you're going to do that. You don't know anything about the person's company. You're going there to learn. So learn from the gardener. Up to where you want to reach. Sit with them and talk to them. You're not going to know everybody's name. You write it down. If that person are in charge, you find out if that person that them granny did grow them, or if they what sort of family background you're coming from, what you expect of them. Tell them, talk to them. Don't expect that they're going to know it. Go over with them. So we are going to do that tomorrow at that time. And this is how we are going to do it. You don't say you know, because we're a team.
Yes.
Go there with the team leader spirit.
Mm-hmm.
It might not be what you're used to, but when you put your standard there, they will follow your standard. Don't lower your standard for theirs.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know where you're coming from and what you're used to. And if you go there with an open mind, learn from the lowest of persons,
Mm-hmm.
carry out your man management skill. You have your daughter, and your daughter have a baby, and the person did come seek one day off from you because you want to go carry home your daughter from the hospital. When the person come back, call the person and said, come here, how is the baby doing? So what is the baby's name?
Mm-hmm.
And you take time and write it down, and every time you see that person, every other week or whatever, they said, how is Chantel doing?
Mm-hmm.
Is she okay? And all of that, take an interest. Somebody for them die. You make sure that you call that person and said, look, we are here for you.
Yeah.
Tell us what we, the family, as their person in charge. Let them feel that you're there in their corner for you. And you can take a thread and read them after that. Just show them some interest. But
Yeah.
don't, you will do this or you will do that because I'm coming from here and where I am. When I talk, everybody said, Joe high. No, it will not work out in the civil world. And wherever you go and make your mark, you can do anything after that.
That is good. And that is so true, ma'am. So and that is critical because it's one of the cornerstones as well in the military.
Yes.
And you see how the application, the proper application of it out there outside of the military can do wonders for you. And the whole thing about caring about your soldiers or your co-workers and showing some interest. You know, you're not going to be everybody's best friend, but just to at least just check on them. So 2 more things for me, Ms. Foster. And the first one is, you know, how 36 years is a lot of time to give to any one organization. And over that period of time, you came in as a chick. And you left with a lot of experience and maturity on your part. How did you adapt and manage your personal and family life whilst you were serving?
Okay. All right. First thing, I met my husband in the army.
Okay.
He was a clerk at the headquarters. We met under unusual circumstances.
He was on a fatigue.
No, he was not on a fatigue. He was a clerk over there. And I was at the dispatch office.
Mm-hmm.
And an envelope came that was torn.
Yes.
Torn that you could have pulled out the documents and read it.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not want under my watch for them to say that it happened there.
Mm-hmm.
So I sent the envelope back to the headquarters because we were actually next door.
Mm-hmm.
You know that building going down Flagstaff, Miss? The one that like jump out in the road and you when you make the corner? Right. Yes, that the comm center was there.
Was there, yeah.
And I sent back the envelope. And the corporal sent back the envelope to me. So I went over headquarters and to find out who is this man. So who was it I was asking? I went over there and said, tell me something, who over here named Dwight Foster? And he looked at me, smiled, and walked away. And I went in the registry and I said, who is Dwight Foster? And somebody said, the same man you talked to outside. So I just gave them back the envelope and I said, could you put this in a proper envelope and address it and give it to me, please? And that was how I met him. He he was duty clerk sometimes, and I was duty com center. And one evening, I had a very unfortunate incident in Crossroads. I was at Hilo, and there were two little kids in Hilo, and they wanted to buy, the little sandwich duplex biscuit.
Yes, yeah.
It was for 5 cents, but they didn't have enough money. So I gave them the money to buy the biscuit. There's a little road on the back of Hilo that drops you right at Retirement Road. And at Retirement Road, there was a restaurant. So I was going in on duty and I said, let me go get some fish for my supper.
Yeah.
When I was ordering the fish, I heard a commotion outside. When I looked, a market truck took the corner and ran over the two children that I gave the money to buy the biscuit. Poor little things were crossing the road, was eating the biscuit and wasn't paying the traffic. That time there was no stoplight there.
Yeah.
And then I watched the truck being taken off the little boy's head, and his brain was in front of him on the asphalt. I didn't bother to pick up the food. I went straight to the com center. When they went for supper that evening, you know what they bought? The burger. I couldn't eat it because I was looking at what I left in Crossroads.
Yes.
Mr. Foster called, and then I told him what happened, and he said, all right, I'm going to go out to Tops. It wasn't KFC, it was Tops.
Fried chicken.
Fried chicken, right where it was. The colonel didn't even have on his bow tie those days.
And it wasn't saluting. It didn't have, no, it didn't have the captain saluting over on the other side.
Over on the other side. And he took back a one-piece combo for me. He sat on the veranda because you could hear when the radio comes on. Like you would hear the sound come on.
Yes, yes.
And a thing there. So, and we sat there and we talked. Nothing serious.
Yeah.
And so the relationship did not develop at that time. It was like about a year after. They had a beach trip or something. And again, we sat under a tree and we spoke, and then the relationship built up. So he was in the army. We got married in 1985.
Yeah.
Right. We got married in 1985, and I started having children in 1987.
Okay.
Right. And then with my job, I had to get a living help.
Yeah.
So I had a living help. I was living in Vineyard Town where I walked to work. Yes, I walked to work. And I transitioned from there and ended up in Spanish Town. Had another baby in 1991. And in 1991, 3 months after, I was on the Twickenham Park Range for 3 weeks.
Oh.
Yes. And after the Twickenham Park Range, I remember I used to express the milk and Daddy used to come out for it.
And this is what, march and shoot per se?
No, it
Queen's
was
Medal?
a senior leaders course.
Okay.
It was a senior leaders course. We did 3 weeks out at Twickenham Park Range, another 3 weeks over in Green Bay.
Yeah.
Yes. And you know that living in Green Bay for 3 weeks, the only thing that is nice is the sea breeze.
Yes.
Yes. And the Canadians were the ones that we were with. And no, that was not it. That was a battle sergeant's course. Yeah. Platoon battle sergeant's course. Yes, in 1991. With the likes of Bob Williams, Brushyfoot, Mancini, those legends from the army. Right. And there was a story that went around. We were going around the other day and King there. And females couldn't do this. Everybody's system is built up different. I was reflecting on how, when I went back to work after 3 months, Babs, I went on this course. Babs, I was on Twickenham Park Range, running up and down and all of that. And persons were saying, how could you just have had baby and this was happening? And I said, but I did that within the blink of an eye.
Well, you have to remember your genes kind of different, Miss Foster. Remember you.
I think so.
As well. Not everybody is so.
I don't think they're making them anymore. Yes.
So you had 2 children?
Yes, I had 2,
okay,
a boy and a girl. Yes.
Okay.
They're all grown now. One is working overseas, and the boy is still at home. He's with this insurance company right across from Lime on Halford Road. I think it's General Accident.
Okay. Yeah.
That one there. Yes. Yes. And I'm still married.
And so I see you, ma'am, and happily married as so.
Yes, I'm still married. Yes.
So the last point for me, you mentioned earlier about part of your preparation for retirement and the transition to civilian life was being a part of something that has a purpose that you can continue to commit your energy and time to. And as you mentioned, the Jamaica Legion. And for those of us who are making that transition, for those of us who are there serving now, and at some point in time will have to leave, I'd like you to just expound, speak a bit on the Jamaica Legion, and your work with Curfew Home and Poppy Appeal and all that sort of thing, so that the intent is really we're selling that aspect of things now, and we want to get, I know we'd like to get as many members as possible there as well. So let us, if you could just expound on your time, the Legion, Curfew Home, Poppy Appeal, all of that voluntary service that you do.
The Jamaica Legion is very dear to me. I must admit that when I was in the army, we only used to go there for a concert in a garden.
Yes.
And
this is Curfew Place.
At Curfew Place over
yes.
Road. And I had only visited the Curfew Home in Manchester twice, and it was like the mess would visit them at a particular time of year. But that time, my eyes were never open to say how, and they were mostly foreigners that were there, persons from World War I and II. And I remember that after I left the army and I joined the Major General Hartley branch at the Jamaica Legion, and my eyes were open to so much things that I was ignorant to, because the home in Manchester is like really our home.
Yes.
But being in the army, the soldiers painted a picture like it's a poor house.
Yes.
Like you only go there when you never have anywhere to go, your family refuse you. And that stigma unto this day is registered in person's mind. I am here to tell you today that that is not true.
Yeah.
The housing trust pumped some good money into the Curfew Home, and the home was upgraded to the fact that I said to my husband and my children, if the Lord spares my life and I am older, and they have their own lives to live, and they're tired of changing pampers.
Yes.
I am to be taken to Curfew Home. I went there when they were rebranding and opening Curfew Home, and there's a room there with a bathroom close to it. And I said to them, this is the room When I find out that I can't drive myself anymore, but I still have it all together up here, this is the room I think that I want. When the young soldiers come and visit, I can tell them about my years in the army and how good it was back then.
Yeah.
So let us move from Curfew Home now to the Jamaica Legion
Yes.
at Swallowfield. You join the Legion. It is service, not self. You're not going there to look anything for yourself, but you're helping your fellow brothers and sisters, your fellow veterans. So
And
join the Legion, yes.
and these are the ones that who are not at Curfew Home, but are not in fortunate situations and circumstances where, you know, need support and a helping hand.
So you become a member of the Jamaica Legion, and you're given an ID.
Okay.
The Legion is on there, and it helps you along the way. It makes you feel accomplished to know that you can help somebody. The Legion is there. A lot of persons might not know, but they go there. Some persons are helped with eyeglasses. Some persons are helped with their medical bill. There's even a clothing department that if you find yourself short on clothing, you can go there and pick out whatever you want.
Okay.
Mr. McDonald is the welfare officer there. You go there and you talk to him. He might not be able to give you everything that you want. Probably if you go there and say, boy, Mr. Mark, I'm hungry, you know, he might be able to give you some rice and some red peas. But you might have to go buy the sardine to go with it.
Yes.
It's that sort of thing. You meet together as a group and you have your meetings and you plan and to help to see how you can better the lives of those that are less fortunate. Because some persons there may have spent like 3 years in the army and left.
Yeah.
They don't have a pension coming and they're old. And sometimes when they come there, they don't even have the bus fare. But if they're our brothers and sisters and they have served their country well. So it is our duty that we that are a little bit younger and say better off than they are in some sense to help them.
Yeah.
I am on about 4 different committees at the Jamaica Legion. At the Major General Hartley branch, I'm the social chair.
Okay.
I am on the Puppy Appeal Committee. I am on the Finance Committee. I do everything. It is service, not self.
Yeah.
If you are just leaving the JDF, and what I found out just before I left, you don't have to be an ex-serving to join the Jamaica Legion. You can join the Legion while you are serving.
That's very good news. I'm learning that myself. I always thought it was the ex-service members who were members of the Legion.
The Legion while you are serving. And in that way, we have a definite network into Upper Camp. If you find out, okay, I'm in camp, and you say, oh, we are going to distribute puppy in Trelawney, and you have a vehicle at your disposal, you can lend us the vehicle. Send a driver with the vehicle, and we go deliver puppy, because the little $1, the $50 that you drop in that pan, we depend on it to help to run Curfew Home.
Yes.
Because we are not getting a lot of support otherwise.
I know.
So we have the band concerts. Since 2019, we have not had any. And the band concerts are island-wide. When you hear a band concert is coming up, and it's a joke, me Me in a camp, me see the military band every day. No, we need your support. We need for you to come and support it and buy the tickets and come, and that the persons that are at curfew home in their last days might be comforted. You understand? Have no luck, because we have to take them to the barber. We have to take them to the dentist. We have to take them to the hospital. And sometimes we have to charter ambulance to take them.
Yeah.
So we have to have cash to care for the persons that are at curfew home. And we're grateful to this the society on the whole that gives the Legion these things. We welcome the wheelchairs, the walkers, the towels, all of the little toiletries that you have. We welcome them because those that are in good working condition. We welcome them because we don't want you to come to curfew home when you are bedbound. No, we want you to come there while you're walking.
Yeah.
You have it all together upstairs, that you can walk the property. In the evenings, you sit under the apple tree, and there's a fish pond where there are seats underneath there, and you talk and you look at the sunset and you enjoy your days at curfew home. We want to make it as comfortable as possible. So if you have a nice lounge chair, any outdoor furniture, anything like that, take them to the Jamaica Legion over at curfew. A lot of persons don't know where curfew place is in a Major.
I know.
You pass Swallowfield Chapel, the examination depot. Just follow straight down King Alarm, that straight road from King Alarm. And we are actually at the back at that nice building that they put up there, the car place there that they put up.
Yeah.
Yes. We're
behind where they sell the Land Rover and Jaguars.
The land, exactly.
Yes, right behind there.
We are exactly, the back of their building is adjoining to curfew place.
Yes.
And a lot of persons are saying that, oh, when I was younger, I went to some good parties at curfew place. Is that place still alive? They don't even know that curfew place is still up and running. So if you have your birthday parties, if you have weddings, if you want to keep a nice little get together, guardsman.
The facilities can be rented.
Yes, it can be rented. Guardsman, under the baton of my boss, Mr. Benjamin, and they came and they did a marvelous job with the planting of the palms, and that you can have such a nice getaway, get together in that garden. It is so nice.
And has a fountain as well, right?
Yes, and we have fish there. There's a little pool there with fish in there. And it is very nice. So, and the public can rent this place.
I know.
So they serve lunches at curfew place in the day, and that's the headquarters for the ex-services and the RAF,
the RAFA and so forth. Yes.
Association, yes. And our Major Lewin is at curfew place almost every day.
Yeah.
Because when we hear of soldiers island-wide and they're in a difficult situation, somebody visits them and see how much we can help.
Yeah.
Yes. So the Jamaica Legion is the place to be when you want to join and volunteer your time to help the veterans that serve you so well.
Thank you for that, Miss Foster. First, I should have said at the beginning, you're married as Mrs. Foster, but it's a thing with us in the military where we just call everybody Mr. and Miss. So please don't let Mr. Foster tell him I apologize, and I hope he's not offended by us saying Miss Foster.
But a matter of fact, a lady said to me one day, Should I call you Mrs. Foster or Miss Foster? I said, darling, call me anything. When I get home, my husband will still be there.
30 odd years of confidence, ma'am. That's well done.
Yeah.
So closing point remarks from you, Miss Foster. And just a few words of advice and guidance for, in particular, our current service members, and in particular, female service members. Having served 30 odd years, you know, and this is more not only from a service member perspective, but from that as a lady. What are some of the things I'd want you to say to our viewers?
Okay. For the members that are serving, you have knowledge at your fingertip. Get yourself educated. The Army is an excellent institution. As a matter of fact, if I was Prime Minister of Jamaica, from your 18, compulsory service, 3 years minimum, if you want to transition after then. But I would have instilled the discipline that I want to instill in you from you were at a tender age. It's the place to be. Everything that I have and everything that I am, I owe it to the Army and God. If you're at a crossroads and you don't know what to choose, if you choose the Army, you can't go wrong. Because when you join the Army, you can be anything you want to be. You can achieve anything you want to achieve. And ladies, please, I have worked among men. Even if they had other things in their thoughts, after I say to them, you're my brother. Those that were older, although your rank was higher than them, look at them as your uncles, your fathers. I remember somebody was getting a bit too close to me, and I said to them, uncle, and he confessed that when I said that, all the thoughts that he had disappeared. Remember that even when you're in your uniform, you're a lady. Hold your head up high. You can achieve anything you want. If you are educated, put your mind to it, stick to your program. I have spent 36 years in Upper Camp, and I have held my head high. You can do it too. Temptations might be there. Don't yield to temptation. Remember where you're coming from. Who is depending on you? Some of you have smaller brothers and smaller sisters that you have to take care of. If you think or see something going wrong, tell it to somebody in confidence. Go to the pageant. Go to the pageant. Said, sir, I see this. This person is luring me here. That person is luring me to do that. But there's something telling me that it is wrong. And get advice. Don't act off your own accord if you're in doubt. Stay on the straight and narrow. Trust God. Even if you're not a Christian and you find yourself in a situation, the only P you must think of is pray. Don't panic. When you panic, it makes your situation worse. Hold your head up high. Upper Camp is not the end of your life. It's the beginning. And you can achieve anything that you want as long as you stay on the straight and narrow path. Yes.
Thank you very much, Ms. Foster. There are some very wise words with a lot of experience and due caution given to the younger generation. Ma'am, again, I'd like to say thank you very much. It was indeed a pleasure. The time went by so quickly, but it was never wasted. I've learned quite a lot. I never knew that you were brought up by a community, yes, and then a big sister. Yes. And then how early you were exposed to the opportunity to hone and enhance your leadership and organizational skills that has taken you far and wide, and where you are now with what you do in the afterlife, as we call it, in civilian world. And I'd like to say thank you very much. I look forward to seeing you again. I know you have extended that invitation to me for the Jamaica Legion, and it's something that I will seriously consider to be a part of as well. And I look forward to seeing you around. And for those of us, our viewers there, thank you for participating, viewing what we do here. We're still pushing on to get other guests here as well. And we look forward to the next episode. Thank you.